You can cancel that. Yeah, that's not good. Liz is saying, oh yeah, just yeah, yeah. Just hold it back for 5 to 10 seconds. And then we'll shut down. You can restart it after that.
I'll just say everybody welcome. We can start that movie.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because it's like a few minutes.
That's fine. And then that'll get started while we're waiting more people?
Yeah.
Hi folks, just like to welcome you this evening. Tonight we have Dan who will be talking us through Illustrator. Some of us get it, some of us don't get it. That's okay. I don't get it, so don't worry about it. I've now been running the group for a year with Dan's help. That's now just our first anniversary meet-up told me. And we've got, I know, I'm like, oh really, a year already? And we've grown the group to like 478 people or something. So it's come a long way from when I first went, and there was 3 of us. So it's increasing, which is great. We've got some good topics coming up next month. We've got the second part where Dan will take your logo that you've drawn tonight and show you how to make it into a business card in Photoshop. And then the next month we have the third part where someone's going to talk to you about optimizing your website. It's not an Adobe tool topic, but it's something that's kind of useful for all of us. And then in April, I don't know if anybody knows or not, but Photoshop World is coming to Atlanta. And Adobe contacted me about having one of their evangelists come in and talk to us. And they will have a giveaway of a free pass to Photoshop World and also a year's subscription to the Creative Cloud. So I said, okay. When they said there was going to be freebies, I thought, all right, I'll go with it. Plus, it's somebody to come in and talk for another month. So if anybody that ever wants to talk about anything Adobe, please come and see us. We're always looking for people that can talk. Nobody judges you. There's so many different ways to do things in Photoshop, Illustrator, all these things that, you know, it's great to get different people's perspectives on it. Tonight we've also got a couple of plugins to give away for Illustrator. Whoever wins the drawing, I'll just take your name and your email address and I send it off to the company, Astute Graphics, and they will contact you with a key. You just download the add-on and they'll contact you with the key to make it live. So they asked if we could show you a quick movie on the plugins because apparently they're going to be regular sponsors and giving us freebies. So I was like, all right. I'm sure we're not averse to that. Dan?
Oh, I should have that open. I'm gonna turn off down the light a little bit, okay?
Driving your car with a flat tire, you can do it. It's just gonna take you a lot more time to get there.
I'm able to get stuff done much quicker than I was able to before. I think I'm 40, 50% faster.
This is what I expect to see in the background. This is how easy it should be in visual age. It brings Illustrator from 1998 up to 2015.
What I would say about all their plugins is it allows you to create what you need to create the way you want to create it, and it makes the whole process easier.
If you don't buy them, you're throwing money away. You will make your money back on the very first project.
When we finally got the new Vector Scribe in, it was just like a breath of fresh air. It was just so much better because I can be an artist now instead of a tactician.
So I guess that was.
Alright, we'll get started in this document here by pasting in some artwork I created a couple years ago. All I have to do is make sure my artwork is selected, head over to the tool panel and activate the Mirror Me tool. Once I have it activated, I'll come into my artboard, click once, and you see I have all these different panels. Well, I can click right here and spin it around until I get the look I'm looking for. If I notice I have too many panels here, I can reduce the number of panels by using my open brackets. And then I just want to apply to layer persistence. So when I make adjustments to this artwork here, using my dynamic corners tool, you see I'll round this guy off, and then it updates across all the different panels here. Now in order to release this, I just have to bring up my Mirror Me panel, and on there I'll click Remove Axes. That released all the different axes for me, and you can see my artwork on my artboard. Click on this little guy here just to kind of show you that Mirror Me keeps everything nice and neat as a compound path. Now that I have my artwork selected, I'll grab the Mirror Me tool and just drop it off right around there. I want to make a couple adjustments, and once I'm ready, I'll apply to selection. I could also come to this side of my artwork, spin it around, and if I want to make my pattern more intricate, I can actually introduce more axes and make some final adjustments here. And once I get the look I like, I just have to apply this to the selection. Now that I have my pattern all set up, I'm just going to scale this guy down a little bit and then center it on my artboard so you can see it better. But as you can see, I was able to create some new artwork really fast using some recycled artwork and Mirror Me. So let me select it and see what it looks like in the appearance panel. And you see here, Mirror Me has created it all into one compound path. So I'll target it, head over to Graphic Styles, and apply this Dusk graphic style. Once Illustrator applies that, I'll deselect it. And a little while ago I created a background for it, so let me just turn this guy on and remove some of these panels. And there's the full look that I was able to create really fast using Mirror Me by Astute Graphics.
Well, there you go. Somebody will win that thing. I'm not guaranteeing that it's going to go like that when you do it. I do it, but hey, you know. So, Dan?
Yes, my turn. So, before I get started, I want everyone to get a chance to say their name, what they do, and what they're looking for an illustrator. So it's real quick and simple. So we'll start on this side and go all the way across.
How you doing? My name's Corey Oates. Illustrator. I'm trying to figure out how to just get my hand drawings digitized.
Okay.
Hey, my name is Darren Jones, and I'm a web developer, and I'm here to learn more about Illustrator and get more familiar with the tools, and pretty much the same thing, change my drawings into actual Illustrator artwork.
My name is Cindy Craven. I'm very new to all of this. I'm not quite sure what I'm looking for yet, but this is my first meeting. I just want to see if it's not over my head.
Okay.
My name's John Ray. My name's John Brady. I am a graphic designer / publishing and marketing consultant. I've been using Illustrator since it was freehand, 1991 or so, and just trying to improve the Illustrator skills.
My name is Adam Reinhardt. I'm a graphic designer for the web, and some Illustrator, but logos are not my strong point. So I've had a lot of more requests for that, so I'd like to learn more about it.
Michael Page, I'm a photographer, so I'm always trying to learn new things.
Cartographer, that's map stuff?
Yeah, I mean.
Like that. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Andy Majewski. I actually do more 3D modeling and animation type stuff, but I just want to learn more about Illustrator for more things that I use for like business cards or logo design.
Gary, been using those very well. See Dan, and also we might be hiring for things to kind of get back out there and meet some
Thomas, know a little about Illustrator, but see if I know some more techniques.
I'm Jessica, and I just run Photoshop and last month or something, and I know very much. I'm Lila. I'm a web developer. My mind is thrown with code and nothing with Illustrator, so I use a lot of Photoshop, but when I use Illustrator, it takes a few.
I'm Margaret, instructional technology specialist at school, and just finished an instructional design degree, but have not really used it.
I'm Kelly Lee, and I'm a graphics for the movies in town. And I just want to get out of the office and work with other artists. So, just to have fun.
Hi, I'm Victoria. You can call me Vicky. I just want to become more familiar with Illustrator. And
I also still graphic designer, an artist, and I'm just trying to pick up some quicker ways to use, quicker and easier ways to use Illustrator due to the fact that a lot of things on the Creative Suite have a million different ways or tactics to do it. I'm just looking for this more.
Okay.
I'm Michelle. I'm an alcoholic. No, I'm kidding. Wrong meeting. I'm a front-end web developer, and like Aisha up there, guess what? Illustrator hurts my head. I never get to, when I click on something, I end up with them taking that line everywhere. So I'm here to learn from the master.
Nah. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming by. I will stick to the basics of Adobe Illustrator. So I think we're all going to be very comfortable with what I have to show you today. My name is Daniel Flores. I go by DTM, Dan the Man for short. I've been Dan the Man since high school, a long time ago. And I've been drawing all my life. About 12, 13 years ago, I kept hearing about Illustrator, and I was an avid user of Fireworks. Back then it was Macromedia Fireworks. And it did vector illustration and bitmap like Photoshop. And so I was very comfortable with it, but I knew that in order to grow and challenge myself as an artist, I would have to learn Photoshop and Illustrator and jump into the Adobe world. And so I read a lot of books. I went through a lot of the help section in the Adobe Illustrator. Back then it was a much smaller program, and I took my time with it. And so I self-taught myself. Well, I taught myself how to use it, and kept reading books and tutorials to get better and better. And now that we have the internet, we can kind of find a tutorial just about anywhere online, especially YouTube with a bunch of videos. So I encourage you to keep looking and find things that will help you grow and challenge. And today, what I want to do is show you just a few of the tools that Illustrator is very strong with to help you create some of the illustrations that you can use for anything you want. I wanted everybody to do hands-on, so we're going to start from the very beginning to opening the program. And I hope you have an image that you like to play with. And it doesn't have to be intricate, it doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be small, it can be any image, it can be a flower, it can be a heart, or it can be nothing. Just going to watch and see how we do it. Okay? We ready? I'm gonna turn off this light right here. And then, so here's an example of an illustration that I did on Illustrator myself for a mobile game. And I have Creative Cloud, Illustrator Creative Cloud, but just about any version of Illustrator works the same. It has similar tools, so it'll work the same for us today. And all these tools, this whole layout has names and things. These are the tools. These are some of the pen tools here. And on this side, we have windows with editing that'll help us edit some of the stuff that we use in it on the screen. So right now, I'm going to go to File and open an image. And I've been working on a few things, so I'm going to open one of the images that is that I created earlier this week. So people I know, friends of mine, decided that they wanted to create an illustration with a gorilla on a star, and they did it themselves. And when I saw it, I wasn't happy about it because they know I like to draw gorillas, and they know I'm a professional artist. So all they had to do was ask me to help them do it. So anyways, I went ahead and redid it, and I'm going to sit here and show you what you end up with, and here's where it started off. And they kind of mishmashed something that looks like a gorilla, and so that's where so that's what I took to start off the illustration. So whatever illustration you have, we're going to pick a couple of tools and just go step by step, and it's going to be very simple. So if you have your illustration up ready, we're going to move on. Good? No questions? Okay. And feel free to ask a question anytime. I don't know the names of everything because I learned all these tools on my own. So I never took classes. Nobody said this is a BZL line and points and so on. So so I may say this tool right here and that thing right there. And if it gets confusing, tell me to stop. So the first thing I do is when you open an image on Illustrator, if you hold down the space bar and click down on anywhere on the screen, well, as soon as you hold down the space bar, you see a little hand pop up, and you can move, and you click down with the mouse, you can move the screen anywhere you want. On a Mac, you can hit a Command plus, and you can zoom in, or the minus, and it zooms out. So those are very easy shortcuts for whenever you need to do something. So I have my layers window open, and what that does is it lets me start creating new lines and shapes. And this layers window allows me to see all the things that I start creating and keeps track of what I'm doing. It's not a history so that I go back. It's just more of it shows me what are the things that I'm creating and laying out here. And you'll see what I mean by that. So the first thing that I'm going to do, when I open this image started out on this layer. This is layer 1. And whenever you open your image, it'll do the same thing. And if you click on this little arrow, it'll show you that this image of the gorilla that just says image, it'll be right here, and it's under layer 1. It's important to keep track of these things because as you get more intricate images, layers start to build up, shapes and lines start to build up, and it becomes a mess after a while. And I have created images with thousands of shapes, and you have to break it up into layers so that you can turn some things on and off, and sometimes a client wants to change the color. And if you did not take the time by building the layers with different colors for different parts of the illustration, you have to go back and manually touch the illustration, and it becomes a big pain. It's happened to me, I learned. So the first thing I do when I have a layer, the first layer open, is I click right next to the eyeball. I can click on this little space, and it has a lock now. So that means no matter what I try to do to this image of the gorilla, nothing's going to happen. I can still move it around, but when I try to do something on this image, nothing happens because it's locked. Are we there? Somebody needs help? You hold down the space bar, click down on the image, and as soon as you hold down the space bar, you see the little hand. So you can click down into the image and move it around. Okay, when everybody see the screen? Okay. Okay, so what I did is I clicked on this space right here to lock down this layer, so that nothing happens to this layer and my image will remain right there. If I was to poke the eyeball, the whole layer would disappear from the screen. You see, now it's gone. So that's what the eyeball means, that it's visible or invisible. So what I'm going to do next is create a new layer, and that's where I'm going to do my work. So down at the bottom of this window, it's called Layers, and if you don't have the Layers window open, you can go up to where it says Window and click on it, and then you can see, click on Window, and you can go down to where it says Layers. And if you see a check mark, or you may be able to find it on this side, and it will look like this on the side, like a little stack of 2 pieces of paper or something. That's what that looks like. Alright, so I'm going to go down here and I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to click on the button that's next to the little trash can, and it's a new layer, create a new layer, and now it's called layer 2. So this layer is where I'm going to actually start creating my shapes and my lines to recreate this gorilla and make it better looking. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in. And it's going to be tough to see, so what I'm going to do is go back to the first layer, click on it so that I can dim it down, opacity. And so there's a transparency window that I can grab, and it allows me to change the opacity of the image that's in the first layer. And you can always find any of these windows on the right side. You can always go to the word Window on the top menu and scroll down and find the window that you want. That's transparency. So this is all preparation. We haven't even started. I know. It gets that way. So I'm done with the layer 1. I'm going back to layer 2. And I'm going to the left. And on the left, you'll see the tools. I'm going to turn these off. And so there's a long list of tools on the left-hand side. And then the third one from the top, on the left, if you have 2 columns, if you have one, let's see what it looks like if you have one. If it lets me do it. It'll be little ways down right here. It'll be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th one from the top. If you have one, one column, if you have 2, it'll be the third, something like that. The third one. So that's called the pen tool. So once you open the pen tool, you'll see the little, looks like an old ink pen. The kind of pens that people dip into the ink, calligraphy pens. That's what the tip looks like.
Dan, I've got this layer open too. Is it supposed to be?
Which one?
Image under layer 1.
Yeah, we're working on layer 2. So what do you have now? Do you have 2 layers? Mm-hmm. So the first one is locked. Huh?
Did you make the first layer opaque?
Yes, I did the first layer. Yes, I changed transparency. Say what?
I have to unlock it to do that.
Yes. Yeah. So I unlocked it so I can click on it and then change the transparency on it. And transparency is down here. It looks like a MasterCard logo sideways, a little diagonal. And then once I did that, I went ahead and locked it again to layer 1 so I can start working on layer 2. Oh, there you go. Yep, you just need Illustrator for that. Click on Illustrator, look for Illustrator, and install AI. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to use the pen tool so that those that are ready can start on it, and those who are waiting can kind of. You'll eventually see that it's the same action over and over and over and over again. It's fun to see a nice illustration in the end, but it's tedious work to get all the points to work together. You'll see what I mean in a minute.
Okay,
So
I can't get it transparent.
that's okay. That's all right. Just make sure you're on the second layer, start doing your work, and get your pen tool. And the pen tool again is up here, the third one from the top. And what the way the pen tool works is you have your mouse or a tablet or some kind of tool, input tool, and you click down anywhere on the screen, and you'll see I click down, and then I'm going to drag, right? And then I let go. Then I find another spot, I click down, and I drag. And you see now I just made a line. But it doesn't look like a line right now because my colors, and that's my color palette up there in the top right. And if you don't see yours, just go to Window and click on Color, and the color window will show up. My color window shows that I have a fill-in color that's white, and I can turn that off. But I want my line color to show up, and I'm going to make that black. So you see how I did that? I over here on the right-hand side, where I have the color window, there's two little squares, well, one square and one block and one square, and the square is really the line, the stroke, and I colored it black. So now we can see the black line right here. Before, we could not see it. And this controls the color of your other stuff that you do here on the screen. And see, look. See, did you see how I made that line? I click down and I drag, and then I can move the line however I want. So I'm gonna do this again because so everybody can see. I click down on the point anywhere on the image. As I click down, I drag it away so that you can see the 2 points. You can see 1 point in the middle and 2 handles starting to grow. Try that on your screen. If you see that happening, then it's working. If you don't see that happen, then say something. And as you let go, it locks the way that point and those 2 handles are, but there's nothing there except a point. So now we're going to click down and create a new point. And once you have 2 points, we learned this in math. What's in between? To get from one point to the other is a line. And so that's what we have. Something like that was math, I remember. And then now all of a sudden, that's how you make lines, like connecting points. You create points, and the points connect every time you click down on the image and you drag. Who needs help? I'm willing to walk up and help you out.
Where is my line?
This is right here. That's your line. Blue line.
Where is my
The color. So color and right here, stroke.
Oh, I mean, sorry. Thanks.
So if you go like this, it should show up right here. Options. Show options. There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So what if you want to you want your black line to go on that light squiggle here?
I can do that exactly, huh?
So the trick is to like maybe put the points closer together.
Yes. 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 So right now I'm just showing you the actual process of how the lines.
Now can you fix it after?
Yes, and I'm gonna show you that part too.
Yeah.
You already know what you're doing. That's Photoshop.
Bring it to Illustrator.
So you did something. Let's see what happened. Click down and drag. Click down and drag. Oh yeah, it's all about practice. It's all about practice. So you see, click down and I drag, right? And that's okay, no matter how you drag it.
When colored.
So once I click down and drag, click down and drag again. So then why? Well,
But
now we start with the line. So you're going to outline everything. So you're going to outline you're going to create an outline of the image of the board.
So I
Stand there. Sure, why not? So you can do. So right now, I think you click down and see how the line points. Yes, it is. So let me here.
Well, I'll ask him when do you think you can do it, and then no idea. But he's a big
So you click down and just click down and start connecting the dots, right?
You know.
But we don't want, right now you need to go round. I want it to be round. That's drag. That's why you want to drag. So that you kind of get more of a round. No. You don't care about that yet. I'm going to show you what to do with it.
Well, I just thought I would throw it in there. Oh,
And you can make
I'm
that.
a Kimball group. I know. I'm going to bring it in.
Oh, well, I'm stuck on something. Right now we just did some lines. We haven't created nothing. That's good.
It depends what it is. Like, because I didn't bring a picture, and I actually wanted to
Yep,
use
it's
this,
on right
so
there.
I had to print it
Okay.
on. But I'll
No problem. I just thought when I would throw it out and
Stroke.
because I know what it's like. It's always looking for people. People are always looking for people's stuff.
I know.
But
I know I had it somewhere. It's not a place.
yeah.
I don't see it.
But he's a really nice guy. He's a big.
Yeah, I know.
He organized Coder Fair. Coder Fair. It came to Atlanta last year. And he did them in Tennessee. And it was very nice. I managed to get my raffle ticket. He's it's for free. Okay. You just keep it, and I'll make a drawing. I'll let you know who's won. And
You did the P.
okay.
You did that P here right now? I did. That's good. That's good. Okay. You know the fill in. Did you know how to get your just the line and not to fill in colors?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can turn off the color on the inside so you can see your line. And that's okay. All right. So everybody's attention, real quick. You just said if you could get a dotted line. I know. So listen to this. This is a big insight right here. Real big tip. So what an illustrator does is, if you remember those drawings where you connect the dots and you find the image and this bunch of dots, that's what you're actually creating right now. With Illustrator, you're creating a series of dots to create an image, and the dots, as they connect the lines, then you see the image. But it's your job to make the dots, and it's your job to control the line so that it can create that image. Does that make sense? That's how Illustrator works. That was good, what she said. Okay, where we at?
Oh no! Oh, I stopped because we were.
You stopped?
Yeah, sorry.
So does everybody know how the dots work now?
I know how they work. I can't make them.
Yeah, it takes time. It takes time to figure it out. But I'm gonna show you how. So there's a couple of tips to remember, and I'm gonna show you something now. Here's because I've been doing it for a long time. I can sit here. It takes practice and time, but I can sit here and follow this curve along the white and black and get really close to it, right? But of course, because if you haven't had the experience, the practice, you're not going to get it at the right spot every time. So
it's a lot easier with a mouse too. I see some people doing a trackpad.
Yeah, that's a little tough.
If you're just starting out.
Yeah.
So let's see. This is so those who are new may be like, wait a minute, I can't get this point back to where that goes. Okay, you can when you get to you put your point, you put your pen where you want to make the point. And once you do that, you click down and drag. And you see, can you see the red tail? As it moves up and down as I move this, but I haven't let go of the mouse. See, so let's say, oh damn, but I made it. It came out crooked. I did it wrong. That's okay. You leave it right there. You go back to the direct selection tool, which is the white arrow. All right. And see, what's cool is that right now you can see these are called handles. This is the point, and these are the handles. This has a name. It's called Bezier tool, Bezier line, or something like that. Yeah, I don't know what that means. But anyways, but so you can see the handle right here, right? There's a handle right here. There's a point right there. There's a point right here. These are handles. And what's awesome about these handles is that you get your direct selection tool. This is the white arrow. And you click down on one of the handles and you can move the line. You see that? All of a sudden you fix the drawing you was trying to go after. So right now, while you had the lens and you had all those points around the lens and the lines are all crooked, right now you, Michelle, with the circle you're working on, if your line looks like this and you want to do what did I say, connect the dots, right? You said, well, Dan said this is like connecting the dots. So I'm going to connect the dots, right? That's what we're doing, connecting the dots. But that looks too straight. So if it looks too straight, right, you're connecting the dots, but now you're making too many dots. And it said it looks too straight, right? It's too square. Okay, well, what we do is we have another tool here that's hiding behind the pen tool. And that's called the Convert Anchor tool. And it looks like a little right angle that's kind of sideways, a little tipsy A. And you click on that. And what happens is you use that tool. It's right here, this little tool that came out of where the pen tool was. And I'm going to click down on this point, and you'll see how I can smooth out this line. Right? Watch this. I click down on the point, and you can see the little handles. You see the little handles? And then I let go, and now I kind of smooth it out my line.
Oh, that's nice.
So what happens is when you put down a point and you connect another point, if you just tap onto the artboard and just drop the point and drop another point, it's a straight line. Drop another point and you have another straight line. But you don't want straight lines if you want to follow something that's there, unless you want a square or something that's really straight. So what you want is those handles. So that's why you click down, and then when the mouse is still down, you drag, and then that kind of curves the line. Make sense? Anybody? Say you're wrong, Dan. Somebody say I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, click and drag. Click and drag. You're connecting the dots.
So if you want it with just a perfect circle to start.
Say what? Say again.
You want a perfect circle to start.
Oh, if you want a perfect circle, there's tools for that. What were you going to say?
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's right. And release. Uh-huh. As soon as you drop the pen, it connects the first point automatically. As long as you're still holding, as long as you still have the same tool up. Mm-hmm. Or it don't matter. No, what matters is how whether if you want it to be straight, you just drop it to the point. But if you want it to be curved, you can click down and drag, and then you'll see the curve. So it's not about the distance; it's more about what you do with those handles to move them. Mm-hmm. Right. But I was doing it. This is one way to do it, when you do it like that real straight, when you can see the points. But what ends up happening is you end up with too many points because you want to get that curve, but since you're just dropping it and not making the handles come out, you're putting too many points to get that curve. Whereas you can actually just drop a couple points, drag, and it'll create the round. All right. So now somebody said, "What if I want a circle?" Watch this. On the tool, there's a little under the T, which is just the text tool. Under the text tool, under the letter T is a shape. It's a square, a rectangle. So you click down on the square rectangle tool, and you'll see. And you hold it down, you'll see the other tools pop up. You have rectangle tool, rounded rectangle tool, ellipse tool. I don't know how to say that. So it's a circle. The ellipse tool is a circle, right? So I release. I still have my mouse click down, and I release on the ellipse tool. And now I'm about to make a circle. I'm going to hold down the shift button because I want a perfect circle. So first I hold the shift button, then I click down and drag. And you see how it looks oval because of the screen, but it's really a real circle. And I'm going to let go of the mouse, and if I can face the screen, you'll see it's a real circle. I want to show you what it really looks like. Yeah, it still doesn't look like a circle, but it's a circle. So they have a circle tool.
Yeah. Do we have it?
Do we see a circle? Did anybody make a circle?
Yes. It looks a lot better than my hand-drawn circle.
Yes, of course. And so, like with that lens, you can actually grab a whole bunch of circles.
Like 100
I know he's going to.
Yeah. Yes, but it's not the shortcut. It's not about the circles. It's about knowing what the points do and why you need to learn them.
I'm still working on the why part.
Yeah. Why? Why? Okay. So why is there Photoshop? Why is there Illustrator? Why is there anything? So what happens is, when you take a picture, you use a photograph, and you print it out for print, like in magazines and so on. Images for print need to be at a certain resolution. So 300 dpi, they say. All right. So that's to print a book or a magazine or a flyer. Photoshop handles all types of bitmap images, and that's what you get. That helps for print and for web also. For web, it's 72 dpi, and so on. But let's say you took a picture of a drawing you did, and you want to make a big banner the size of this building because you want to put it on the side of the building. So if you've ever played with images and try to stretch them out, you notice that the pixels, all those little squares that make up the image, start to stretch out, and next thing you know, you don't actually see the image anymore. You see a bunch of squares. And that's what you see right here in the nose of the gorilla. Right? Those are pixels. So now you're blowing it up and you made a poster, but now instead of seeing the gorilla, you see a bunch of squares and it looks like the old video games of 20 years ago. So Illustrator, what it does is you use that tool, Illustrator, use the tools to create images that are called vector, and what that means is nothing but mathematics. It's points and lines, and that's it. And no matter how big you blow up a vector illustrations, it'll still look crisp and clear as if it was small, because it's not based on pixels. It's based on vector. So that's why we use Illustrator to create a lot of images. So that not only so when I create a logo, you may want the logo not just for your flyer, for your business card, or for your website, but you want to make T-shirts. So the T-shirt company is going to ask you for a vector illustration, because they know they can blow that up any size to print it on the shirt. And when you send off the file, the Illustrator file for that image, the file size is small because it's made up of math and nothing else. Whereas if you sent off a picture that came out of your phone or a high-powered camera, and it's made out of pixels, then the data makes the file size much bigger. So then, so that's why we all like Illustrator, and that's why it's there. If you use so when you're creating a logo, what you want an Illustrator file, you may want a banner later on. You may want to print out some big stuff, and so that then you always go back to the Illustrator file. And if you work with a designer who does print stuff for you, they're always going to ask you for the vector every time. And if you don't have one, and you have a logo that looks professional, then you need to go back to that designer who did that logo to get that vector. And if they didn't do a vector, then you started off wrong. Because now you have to spend up. Say what? Then somebody has to redo the whole picture. And that has happened. I do that for my clients who don't have a vector illustration of their logo, but they need to get it printed big. And so there's no other way but to redo it. And so then I have to charge you for that.
So what if it's not a logo or something that's relatively
Yes.
Could you, like, talk about converting something that's fairly complicated and what it takes?
Can I talk about it?
Yeah, just in general.
So, I can. Let me see what I have here.
Yeah, in other words, like if you're a hand artist, you know, you're just, you know, painting or...
Yeah, Illustrator's not for that. Okay. Illustrator's more for, it can still be complex. There's some artists out there that can create some amazing, amazing work and with Illustrator. But now, that's more on the art side. So they're not really creating some big, big art. And this is a couple artists I know. And they use shapes, all these shapes. And right now, what I show you was the lines, just a few lines. But those lines, when they connect in that circle, that's a shape. And when you start putting them together to make stuff and put filters on them, so now you start creating depth and shadow and color and so on. And now you start having some better art. And I'm going to show you something. Yeah, that's good. I'll show you an example.
So there's a certain point where you might take it to another program to keep
going? No. Illustrator will do it all for you. I have created Illustrator images for the side of a truck, of a shredding truck. They wanted these piranhas chewing on some paper because because that's what they did, right? Shredding, right? So where is it? Here it is. So I created these piranhas in Illustrator. And what I did is, not only do I have all the lines that I try to show you, but I also created shapes and shadows and highlights and everything else. And the ocean in the background, colors, and then paper, and all these big nasty teeth and the eyeballs, all those, everything is vector. All of it is Illustrator. See what I have here. That's Illustrator. And this began as a drawing. And so I did a sketch. I commissioned for a character for a client. And I sat here and I drew the guy out, and he wanted the guy with the hat, with the baggy pants, and the skateboard. I said, okay, and I came up with the pose. And then I used Illustrator to outline. This is all the lines are Illustrator lines. This is a shape. This black hair. The dark shadow right here is a shape. The color inside the face is a shape. The eyeballs, white of the eyeballs is a shape. All these shapes started piling on to create this overall image.
So do you find that most of the time you start off with a photograph?
You start with a picture, a drawing. Yes,
And then just start taking it apart.
Yes. And I have a drawing here. Let's see. I wanted to go through from beginning to end on an Illustrator drawing, but I'm gonna show you something real quick. So you see how? Okay, here we go. All right, so in this piece of paper, in this little book, I drew a Darth Vader helmet guy with the boombox. All right, and this is on paper. So what I did is I took a picture of this, and then I brought it into Illustrator. And in Illustrator, I sat here and I created each and every line. And as you can you see the red? Now that I highlighted this line, you see the red points, the red handles, and everything was aligned. And then I went in and did shapes. And you see the green now? This kind of green outline on this gray shape, and then there's a handle right here poking out for this point right there. And I constructed this drawing in Illustrator. But see, what happens is if I try to print this drawing and I try to blow it up, you start seeing the pixels. You start seeing all the close-up of the drawing, and it doesn't look clean. But see on this screen right here, look, no matter how big I blow it up, no matter how close I get, it's still clean lines. And when they actually print and you blow it up any size you want, there'll still be a clean line. Yes, sir.
You're talking hours long tracing. How long is that? What's a rough estimate?
For this one, yeah, a couple hours. Yeah, this one was, because I only used the lines in the gray for color, yeah, that's a couple hours. Now, you want to see something that takes a long time? Yes, oh yeah, it will, but it's good practice. It's very good practice.
Not fast.
Yeah, there's nothing fast about any of this, not at all.
And live trace isn't good either.
No, and there is a couple of shortcuts, but they're not helpful. It can be cheating, but it's really not going to help you.
It's not going to help. It's garbage. I've tried it. Live trace. There's one where you can put a picture in that says it's a live trace, and it gives you all these anchor points. But trust me, it looks nothing like what you were tracing. Nothing at all. It's like, wow.
Live trace.
Yeah.
I don't know. That saves my rear all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and live trace helps for simple images.
Yeah, it just depends.
Yeah, but not all the time. So here's a drawing. Here's an illustration I did in Photoshop, an Illustrator, and so that I did a lot of lines, and then I used color lines, and I layered them all on top of each other to get that effect. Also with the gorilla, and it all started as a drawing. But I'm going to find the actual file so that you can see how many shapes it takes. Okay, so these are, this is the Illustrator file. I'm going to open the layers. All right, now here's the layers window, so you can start seeing how many layers and paths it took. And I'm scrolling right now. I'm scrolling, and these are more. And I'm scrolling, and there's more, and there's more. Look, I'm scrolling, and that's that one. Let's see this one, compound. I'm scrolling. Let's see what else we have here. These are all shapes and lines, and I had to hand draw them, each one of them. And if I use light trace, I would not get that. Light trace is not going to give you that. So what I have done is I collected all of these shapes into certain layers, and I named them. That's why it's important to keep track of your layers. One says background, the other one says art life, so that's a text. Layer 20, I know that's my image back here. Penny is the female character, denominator is the gorilla. But inside denominator, I have several things going on here, and I'm going to turn off some stuff so you can see. See, now it's just the gorilla. You see? And I'm going to turn off this layer on top that I'm turning off is the lines. This layer here is the outline, the big outline. And then this layer here is the color. This layer here is the back outline. So here's just the color by itself. Here's just the lines by itself. So let's say it was working for a client, and the client's like, we don't want any black lines. We just want them all one color to be red. So if I did not have it all split up in their own particular layer, I have to go back, and I've done it a long time ago. That's the lesson you learn. And you click on all the little lines, and you change the color. But now, since I'm smarter, I work smarter, not harder, I click on the layer on this circle over here. I click on it, and I can go to my color, and I tell the color, let's make it red. Now click out of it, it's red. Oh, but the outline's not red, Dan. I know. I'll do it right now. Just like that. And there's a couple of things that were not in that layer, and they're not change the color.
So is it best to work from outside in perspective, where you put an outline first, and then you kind of go back in and do all the detail?
Depends. It depends on the person. I like to go and do the outline first, so I know what my so I can get the thickness that I want here, and start working my way in. And then I start with the face, and I'll just take it in any direction. Sometimes I just jump around. But the important part, no matter where you start, is that to make sure that you pay attention to your layers. That's why I showed you the layers in the beginning. You know, in Photoshop, when you work with Photoshop, you don't start the job until you know what size you need to output the work that you're creating. Because if you're working on a poster, it's different specifications in Photoshop that you use than if you were working on a flyer. With Illustrator, you don't have that problem because you're working on an illustration and you can crop whatever you want, unless you have a very specific thing you're working on. But what's important here is to make sure that your things are in a proper layer, so that way, when you have to go back, and a lot of times it happens, you can always change the things you need to change. So let me go back to the image we started, so I can show you the process that I wanted to show you, that it said that I was going to do for the logo. All right. All right. So there's my gorilla once again, and when I turn the things back on, you see the rest of the image. It'll show up. And all of these things are all vectors. They're all vector lines. They're all points. There's a point here that connects to the point on the top of the pencil. Oops. So you see, there's a point here and there's a point there, but there's no handle, so that's why it's a corner. If there were handles, I'm going to put a handle just so you can see. I grab my Convert Anchor Point tool. I click down on the top corner of the pencil, and I'm going to click down and drag. And you see, it's hard to see, but I got the handle out, and I'm going to let go, and now I made it round. So let's go back to where we began.
When it's a handle, how do you make it back up?
Oh, okay. There's a good question. All right. So how do you make it a square point when you already have a handle there, right? All right. So let's go here. Can everybody see the circle, right? You see the point there, and you see the handles out, correct? Everybody sees that. None on this side. All right. So now I'm going to grab the Convert Anchor Point tool, and I'm going to touch this point and click it down one time. Just tap it. One time. All right? I'm going to do that. Bam. But the simple act of just tapping it and letting go, I've created a corner. Now, I wanted a line. So now click down and drag. Okay, you want it to be a square, just click down. Click down, drag, or just click it down. It looks so easy, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It really is, actually. It's just long and tedious.
She lost her line.
She lost the line. Make a new one. There you go. What's that?
Is it best to use like a lot of points and short distances apart, or is it best to use like here and then long distance apart, or because how far can you stretch that curve or
As long as you want. And so the question is, should you use a lot of points or try to get the least amount of points? And it really comes down to how much control do you have on the curve if you need a curve. So let's say if you're outlining a square or outlining this star right here, right? And we're going to outline the star. We don't need a lot of points. We just because we know that one point's on the top of the star, another point's right here to the left, right? Another point is down here. So it really comes down to how many points you need to get the shape you want or get the line you want. Now, do keep in mind, the more points you add, the larger the file size. And now you're starting to defeat the purpose of why you're doing how the vector works, where the file size is small because it's made up of just points and shapes and not image like you would a picture. So instead of me going around, so now I'm going to outline the eyebrow here. Instead of me doing this, clicking down and letting go, click down, click down, click down, click down to make this line, what I would do is I click down once and drag. Don't matter how it ends up looking, because you can always fix it. Then I find another place on that line to click down and drag again. Find another place in that line, click down and drag again. So you say, damn, that part is messed up. Okay, so we're going to click down on it so we can see the handles. If I don't click down on this, if I don't click down on this point, I won't see the handles. I click down over here so I can see that handle. So I'm going to click down over here to the left. I can just highlight it or actually click down on the point. Now I see the handles. So I'm going to grab one of the handles on the left and I'm going to turn. And I say, okay, that looks about right. I let go. And now that line follows the curve. So you have to do that with any image you're working on. No matter what. What's cool about this, as an artist, like me, I'm an artist. I draw with pencil and markers and pens and whatever. You realize that when you work with a pencil, you can always go back and erase. And when you work with a marker, there's no eraser. When you're working with a pen, there's no eraser. Corey here and myself, we do tattoos. There is no eraser. I mean, there is. You can go pay a doctor to take off the tattoo, but you can't. While you're sitting there doing the tattoo, you can't hit delete. You can't hit go back. You can't erase, right? So it's permanent. What vector allows you to do is, yes, you did the line, but you can always go back and change it. Say, I wanted that to be lower. I wanted that here. Okay, well, put it there. That's what's amazing about what Illustrator can do for us as artists.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How do I move something back? I've got something that I want to go to the back, but you know how in Photoshop I just moved the layer?
Oh, the layer? You do the same thing. So you have your layers here. So let me try two things. So I'm going to make this shape, I'm going to make this shape, and that shape, right? I just made a bunch of stuff. So then when you look at your layer, you see all these different paths. Mm-hmm. They're called paths. It's a shape, a path, whatever. You want to put one on top of the other. So let's say we're going to make this one white. And you're like, and you say, Dan, I want the white on top of the black. Very easy. You click down on the path that you want to move, and you let go when you move it to where you want it to go. So now there it is.
Can you also just easily duplicate shapes?
Yes, the same way as in Photoshop. You hit down the option button, click down on the option button. While you're holding down the option button, you click down on the shape you want to copy and move, and just click down on it and drag it, and now you have two.
What about sending the copy to the front of the web?
Yeah, that's what, because it's not working.
What do you mean?
Like, I've got this big circle, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I want that circle to be at the back.
And it may be, but how are you going to tell this in the back if these circles don't have a color inside of them? Right. Yeah, you can't tell right now. So let's take a look. Whoa, those are locked. Those are down here. Yeah. So they are in the back, and this one's on the front. It already is.
I want it to be in the back.
Okay, so then I click down and drag the whole layer to the back. So now it's in the back. But you can't tell it's in the back because these don't have any color inside. See, now they have color inside. Now you can tell that it's gone because it's in the back. So there's a way. So here on the layers, that makes no sense. Look at this, Michelle. So now I have my two layers. I close down. So now I'm looking at my two layers right here, right? And I'm going to zoom out so we can see the stuff I made. It's a mess. All right, so now I click down onto layer 2, and I drag it under layer 1. And now that stuff that I created on top of the gorilla face now is behind it. You can move the layers in the order that you want them to be.
So
they move.
If you have a shape, say it's a circle, and you want the outside of the circle to have a line around it, is that a separate process, or is that just a something?
All right, let's see if I understand what you're saying. So we have a circle. A stroke, So, right, so when you're working with a line, that's a stroke. If you fill it in, now that's a shape. That's right. Yes.
To piggyback off what is there a way, I'm sure sure there's a way
Yes.
to do an outside rim around,
Mhm.
outline around the strokes.
Yeah, so I did that here. See that here? So here, I have a circle. I have one circle, then I have another circle that's white and another circle that's black. And all these three circles have a stroke on them, and they're different size strokes, so that the last circle has a bigger stroke, the second circle has a stroke that's less, the top circle only has a smaller stroke. So then it looks like there's really a line around.
So you stack them.
You stack them, and I made the stroke different sizes to give me the effect.
I'm saying, is there a way to select the object, and then whatever the object is, have an outline around it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I'm gonna show you that in a second. Go ahead.
Like with your gorilla.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you right here, right now. Go ahead.
Can I ask you one question about your stroke there? I've had the experience before where I've done the same thing with strokes, but then say I want to stretch the image, magnify it, make it 10 times larger. The stroke stays the same.
Yes.
Is there a way to overcome that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I'll show you that in a second too. So let's do this sample with what you want right now, right? See, this is one shape, right? This layer is just one. It's this path right there on the right. So this thing is one. It's just this pink and green. It's one. It's actually one shape, one object. And this object has two things going on it. As you can see in the color right here, it has a green stroke. This square right here stands for the stroke, and this block stands for the inside color, the fill. So the fill color is pink, and the stroke color is green. Now let's do some effects. I want to do more than that. Okay, so check this out. So now I'm gonna hold down my option, and I'm gonna click down and move. So now I got two, right? And I'm gonna grab this one. And another trick is when you're resizing something, but you want to keep the proportions the same. In Photoshop, there's a little lock on the top you can click on. In Illustrator, you just hold down the Shift button and grab the corner and drag it, and now you made it smaller. So now this one fits in this one. And I'm going to get to your point in a second, all right?
He actually just showed it.
Okay. Well, yeah, but there's some settings that you can touch also. So now I'm actually clicking and dragging across both of them so I can click on both of them. And then, it's not showing up in here. There's just transform tool. I'm going to show you something.
So at this point, as you resize the middle one, you also change the size of the stroke.
I changed the size of the stroke, right, because I changed the size of the circle. And if you don't want to change the size of the stroke, there's a setting for that where you go to transform on the top, and it says scale. And where it says scale, there says scale, strokes, and effects, and you can unclick it so that no matter what size you change the shape, the stroke will remain the same. I keep it clicked so that, because most of the time I can go back and change this stroke anytime I want, but sometimes I do want the stroke to be thinner because now it's in the inside and I want to do some effects with it. So there's that answer, and now we're gonna. So now I'm clicking. So now I highlight both of these shapes, and there's if that predictor had more room, we could see the align settings that show up right here, and you can see that's the center, and that one is the center also. And so I'm gonna center both circles, and you see they kind of fudged a little bit. So now I can grab the first one, change the color of the stroke, and I go to my stroke window, and I can change the size of the stroke itself here, the size and the color. So now it starts to look like
an Easter egg.
yeah, right. But now it also starts to look like there's different circles or there's like this could be a circle and these could be just lines. It starts to look that way. It gives you that idea when it's really just two circles with different strokes on them.
How many strokes can you do?
You can go as many as you want.
On one object?
Oh, one object, just one stroke. So that's why you're going to pile on the shapes to each one have a stroke, so then you can get the effect that you want. And even though you have, what do you have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. colors, 3 different looking strokes, is really just 2 shapes. Because this is shape 1, that's the stroke, that's shape 2, and that's the stroke. Want to blow your mind? Let's blow your mind real quick. One thing, and then I'm going to take a break to have everybody catch up. So we have these 2 shapes, right? They're next to each other. And let's say I want a crescent moon. Say, Dan, make me a crescent moon. I say, okay. So now I'm going to highlight both of them. And on the right side, there's a Pathfinder window. That's right here on the right side. And on the Pathfinder window, the second option is to minus. And I click down on it, and I made a new shape. Just like that. There's a tool over here on the right side. I'm going to do it again. So I have 2 shapes. All right, I highlight them both. I go to my Pathfinder window. I look for the second option, and it says minus front. And the front is this one. This one's the front, this one's the back. And it's going to minus the front. So I click down on it. Now I have this other shape. I did not have to sit there to make the shape. I didn't have to sit there and go like this. You know what I mean? Like, wait a minute, that's not a real circle. Oh man, it's not coming out. I didn't have to try to do that. I have a shortcut. And that was my shortcut. So if you want to make Mickey Mouse, you can do that too. So you got one circle, another circle, right? So I highlight all 3 of them. I go to the Pathfinder tool, but I go to the first one. The first one says Unite. So I click down on it, new shape. And it's 1 now. Now, when I click on it and drag it around, it's 1, it's not 3. Is it magic? No. Look at that. Everybody is looking at their screen. Any questions? Where you at? All right, I'm going to draw the gorilla so you can see, right? Y'all want to see me draw the gorilla?
I got one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, with the Mickey Mouse feature,
Uh-huh.
what if you wanted a line around, an outline around the Mickey Mouse feature?
Uh-huh.
Are there keystrokes or another?
You make another shape.
Other than copying and scaling that shape and then dropping it?
Well, you can scale it, or you can just, well, you're still going to have to create a second shape. So here it is, right? We're going to make it one shape. There it is. Now this shape, I can go here to my layers on the right side, the windows on the right side. I click on the word, it says path, and that's that shape right there. And there's a little menu right here on the right side in the top of the corner. And I can say duplicate. I hit duplicate. Now there's 2 of them. As you can see, 1 became 2, and they're still stacked next on top of each other, so you really don't see that there's 2 there. But you know there's 2 because the layers is telling you there's 2. So I click on the bottom one. I grab the bottom one, and I go to my stroke window that came out right there, and it says the stroke is weight number 12 point. So now I'm going to make it bigger. I want to go to 20. So now you saw that it kind of, the whole stroke kind of got fatter. So I'm going to go to my color, and I'm going to change that stroke color so you can see it. And you can see the green just showed up right here. Because that's the one in the back. And the one in the back, I increased the stroke so it got fatter than the one in the front. So now I'm going to make it fatter just to show you how it changes. 40. And now it's fatter. So the original shape, both of them are the same size. The one in the back, I added a stroke so it made it fatter than the one in the front.
Okay. So there's no way to get around duplication?
No. Yeah. And, I mean, that's the easy way. Now, if you don't want to duplicate, let's say, no, I don't want to duplicate. Okay, well then go ahead and take your time and make you another line here.
No, that's what I'm trying
to avoid. Right. This is the long way right here. Yeah, I can show you the short way. Yeah, this is the say, no, Dan, I don't want to copy. Okay. Click and drag.
So just duplicate
Yeah. Click and drag. Of course, it ain't gonna come out exactly, but.
I got it. Thank you.
So if we're not talking stroke on the second item, we might be talking about some other type of effect.
To do what?
I don't know, drop shadows or.
Oh, you can do those too. Yes. And there's plenty of it right here. When you go to Effect on the top of the menu, it's Effect, and you can scroll down and you'll see all kinds of stuff. It says Stylize, Drop Shadow. And you can do a shadow if you want. But it's going to be a vector shadow. It still looks like a shadow, but it'll be a vector shadow. So now let's, I said I was going to do an illustration during the class, so I'm going to do it. All right? So I want you to see this whole process. It's very simple. I just kind of explained it, but now you're going to get to see it. And it's just, it's nothing but click down, drag, and okay, oh, my line's too thick. I go to my line, my stroke window. I click on the weight, and I go down to the weight that I want. Okay, 6. Let's make it a little fatter so y'all can see it. Let's make it 10. Let's change the color. As a matter of fact, let me turn off this fill-in color and just get to the stroke color and make that dark. Yeah, black. Let's click on it, black. And then I go back here. I'm going to click down and drag. I'm going to click on this. When I come back and click on the point before I go to another spot, what it does is it turns off the handle that was here. Because there's still a handle there, but now that handle is gone. And that's why I did that. Because it's going to create a corner for me. So I'm going to click down over to the right and drag. Click down and drag. Click down and drag. And I'm taking my time all the way around. I'm taking my time. And see, look, I messed that up right there. Yeah, this is slow, right? This is real slow. Sorry. And nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying slow is bad. It's just that's how it starts. Click down and drag. Click down and drag. Oh, there's a couple of messed up spots. I always go back to my direct selection tool, the arrow, so that I can make things move and change and so on. So I can click down onto the point and drag it around. That's better. I click down on this point and I grab the handle and I move the handle around. See? Much better. And like, hey, that's it. That's close to what I wanted. Right? So then I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do the eyeballs. And of course, they're not perfect eyeballs, so it don't matter. That's why I picked this gorilla. I actually was going to do a different logo last week, but I already finished it. So there it is. I'm just going all the way around. All the way around. And this is when you turn on a movie or put on some music, because you're going to be there for a while.
You notice Dan's really fast because he uses the left hand?
Yeah, and I use the left hand to click on the keys.
For quick keys,
to get to do.
The way you learn those is when you see them in the menu, they put the letters are in there in the menu.
Yeah.
Or even the hover. If you hover over like the pointer tool, it'll tell you if it's like a V or something. You can just hit the letter V or whatever and change. So if you hover over those tools, it'll give you the keyboard command. So you'll need to learn them all, but you might want to learn the pointers. If you can get between pointers real quick, it'll save you a lot of time having to go to the menu back and forth. I mean, that's where speed is. Anybody that's really advanced never goes to the menu. They just do it all with their left hand.
Yeah. So as you can see, I have the outline, right? All I did was follow the outline. Right? There's nothing. It's nothing strange about this. Right now, I depends on what I need. Sometimes I just click down on the space bar so I can move the image around. You know. There's also to undo and all these things and cut and delete.
Yeah, if you just learned the space bar and to zoom in and out, that's probably helpful.
And so I messed that up. I know I don't use hardly any shortcuts on the keyboard as some people. Some people would they never let go of anything.
You can also customize your shortcuts and make them whatever you want to make them. Because you know how across the board, it's different shortcut keys for Photoshop than it is for Illustrator.
Yeah.
But if you say you're used to the Photoshop ones, well, you can change your keyboard shortcuts to the same in Illustrator so that you're not getting messed up and doing something and then you end up with a mess. You know, I mean, I'm speaking from experience. You know.
So did everybody see what I'm doing? I just did the outline, right? Everybody saw that? I'm going to highlight all of it. I'm going to go over to my stroke and I'm going to make it thinner. I made it thinner. No big deal. But what I'm really going to do, 8 minutes, what I'm really going to do is change the color of the inside by going to the fill color, making it black. And I'm going to make the stroke blank, none. So now all I have is the overall shapes. But inside of here, we lost the nose, right? So remember that I showed you how to use a Pathfinder tool. So I'm going to make some holes for the nose real quick. So I highlighted the nose and the big snout. I'm going to go over to my Pathfinder tool, click on the, minus, and now there it is. You see the nose, right? Pretty cool. I'm going to do the mouth also. Highlight the snout, and there's the mouth. And I'm going to click on the minus. And there it is, just like that. Yes, sir?
How are you going to go about later, determining what goes on which layer so you can track loops of stuff?
Right. Well, for like this one, because it's very simple, so I put everything on one layer here. But now if I'm going to do the star, I make a new layer. And I make that new layer under the snout and the eyes and all that. So now, amazingly, there's a star tool. So I can hold down the shift button, drag, makes me a star, put it where I want it, and I change the color. And now there you see it. Let's put a stroke on it so you can see the outline. And I'm going to turn off the old one. And there it is. So now let's say the client says, no, Dan, I want this to be white and the star to be black. Well, then I can just go to that layer, click on it, and then change the colors. If I had a big old layer with a bunch of shapes and paths on it, now you're really going to put yourself to work. I hope you learned something. It's very simple. And try it out. See what happens to you. Okay?
Take a ticket, please. Thank you. Okay, number 494788. 788.
Come on, you got to be here.
Oh, there you go. You could write down your name and your email address here for me, please, and what they'll do is they'll email you the code.
Okay.
Okay.
It's up? Okay, so now, click on that.
This is a difficult thing to learn.
Finder.
Just write down your name and your email address, and I can
You created the Adobe thing. So keep your eyes open to Adobe User Group, AUGATL on Twitter. You can follow me at Delta Tango Mike on Twitter, Instagram. Always doing illustrations, always doing workshops. Next week we're going to have another meetup, and that's for the business of art. It's open to artists and anybody who's interested in strengthening their business skills. No, we've been doing that for a couple of years. The Black Book Conversation. What happened? Yeah, that's the trial again. Start trial.
And if anybody knows of any company that are looking for somewhere to sponsor, we're always looking for someone to sponsor.